Welcome to Family Lifestyles, part of the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. Hello, my name is Tracy Cowles, and I am the Butler County Family and Consumer Science Agent. And today with me, I have LaToya Drake, who is the County Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences in Barron County, which is Glasgow.
We have
Hello.
the longest name, the longest title ever.
Yeah.
It's also known as FCS, or what used to be Home Economics.
That is correct.
Is what folks really know us as. But FCS is the short version, and we focus on home and health education in the community.
Yes.
And today I wanted to talk to you all about nut nutrition. And it's also, March is National Peanut Month. So not only is it the best day ever, which, Tracy, that's my birthday in March.
Oh.
It's also, we also celebrate America's favorite snack, which is peanuts.
Peanuts. Mm-hmm. So peanuts come in several forms. You can get them raw. You can get them roasted. You can get them salted. You can get them cream style.
And you know what? Peanuts aren't actually tree nuts. They're actually a legume, like a soybean or a pea.
Oh, really?
The way we prepare them just makes them present as nuts, and we include them in that nut nutrition because they're nutrient dense. They're packed with different nutrients like protein, niacin, folate, phytosterols, and they have more than any other nut in that.
Well, for someone who can't eat meat, because we have lots of allergies now, the alpha-gal and things of that nature, where they can't eat meat, we know that we need protein. We know that our body needs the protein, and this is one way that we can get the protein that we need by incorporating nuts, peanuts especially.
Yeah, peanuts. And we're talking about peanuts now because peanuts have a rich history in our country.
Oh.
They were actually brought to our country by way of Africa, probably through slaves, and by the Portuguese. And they brought the peanut here, and it became one of our favorite snacks. It was called originally the goober or the goober pea. And one of the persons who popularized peanuts in our nation was Dr. George Washington Carver. He's also one of the, our founding fathers of extension.
Yes.
So I just think that's great to hear. I have a children's story here, Dr. Carver's Garden, and it talks about the history of him with peanuts. He published a bulletin called How to Grow the Peanut and 105 Ways of Preparing It for Human Consumption.
What do you think is the most way that it is prepared for us today?
Probably peanut butter.
Yeah.
I'd say we eat a lot of peanut butter, don't you?
I would say we do. What about peanut butter? Do we need to have safety regulations on it?
Yeah, and some people are often allergic to nuts and peanut butter, and we're going to talk more about that in just a second, too. Back to nut origins, because we've been eating nuts for thousands of years, and they say that that was the start of agriculture, is us harvesting nuts, because we, as people, realize that nuts grow on trees regularly, right? And it keeps them away from some animals, and we can pick them. Nuts store for a long time.
I can remember my father growing some peanuts, and they were in the ground. And I thought that was the weirdest thing when he would pull those up, and there was all those little peanuts hanging off. And I can remember busting one open and eating it right then, and that was probably not something that I should have done because I didn't like the raw.
That was such memories.
Oh, it was a memory,
and I bet that tasted so good because you got to grow it with your family.
It did. And of course we roasted them, and we even boiled them.
Almonds and pistachios, Tracy, are mentioned as far back as biblical times.
Oh, really?
I thought that was a neat little topic. Historians hypothesize that ancient societies have used nuts up to 10,000 years ago.
Wow.
So much of our history. And, Romans gave sugared almonds as gifts during weddings.
I like sugared almonds.
We still give almonds and pecans and things as nuts because nuts are expensive.
They are. I consider them one of the most expensive nuts that we have, and we use a lot of those during the holidays also. Do we have any publications at the university on nuts that if someone was interested in getting some information, they could look at it?
We have a great publication called Flavorful Nuts, and we're going to go through that really quickly too, because it talks about the different types of nuts. In this publication, it is number FN.SSB-078. You go to your extension office in your county and ask for this. Your agent can help you get this publication. It goes through all the different types of nuts and their history. Almonds are the most popular nut, and they're thought to have originated in China.
Oh, okay.
Almonds, we all know what almonds look like. You know, we've got almonds. Brazil nuts, that's one that's not so popular. It's the large nut here. Those come from a seed of a giant tree in Brazil.
Oh. So that's why they're called Brazil nuts.
Yes. Cashews. We all know cashews. Those are really rich in fat.
I love them.
I love them too. They have a smaller serving size when you should be really
careful.
Yeah, careful. But I could eat a whole container of cashews. Yes. They originate in the Amazon.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. They're used with chocolate a lot. Mm-hmm. Chocolate and caramel.
I like them a lot. Hazelnuts. We've got some hazelnuts there. Well, that's not hazelnuts. Where are hazelnuts? Did I put the hazelnuts on there somewhere? But I might not have put them on there. They are clusters on the hazel tree, and they're in Italy, Spain, France, and Turkey. Because I've got macadamia nuts on there.
I like macadamia nuts.
I do like them in cookies as well.
Yeah.
We know peanuts. We've been talking about peanuts. Pecans, we know of those because the pies and all the other good things at clusters. Pine nuts, we make pesto.
I like them roasted.
You do? Do you put them on salads?
I do.
Pistachios, a great nut. Soy nuts, roasted soybeans,
yes,
are great. And walnuts, great for the brain.
Oh, it kind of looks like a brain when you cut it open. When you say that,
I wanted us to definitely get to nut allergies because that's something that often stops people from taking advantage of nut nutrition. Nuts are great and portable, nutrient-dense food, but they can be a big concern.
Yes. I know in schools, you have to be careful if you bring in any type of snack. I know that now they won't let you make homemade snacks. You have to bring in something that is already packaged and sealed. And several classes I know that have children with peanut allergies. So, you know, a child cannot be around the dust, be around, you know, if one child touches it and then touches another child, you don't have any idea how sensitive they might be to that nut.
Yeah, many schools and public places are nut-free zones because about 20% of children will outgrow a tree nut allergy, but many of them will live with it for the rest of their life. 2.5% of all American children have a tree nut allergy.
Wow, that's a large number.
Mm-hmm. And nut allergies occur when our immune systems mistakenly identify nut proteins as something harmful to us when they're not, you know, actually harmful. And then that direct contact or indirect contact, as you said, causes the immune system to release a chemical into our bloodstream that causes the allergic reaction. And common symptoms include hives, itchy eyes, asthma, sneezing, swelling, vomiting, abdominal pain, and diarrhea.
You know, and it could be very dangerous to a child that has a nut allergy and then comes in contact with. I know that they have schools, nurses in my county, and they train them on those. So, LaToya, it has been great having you here. We're going to take a break, and we will be back with Family Lifestyles in just a moment. Thank you.
You can be the king, come banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You could talk to God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself. Stand in the Hall of Fame. Be politicians, be preachers, yeah. Be believers, be leaders, be astronauts, be champion. Standing in the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back to Family Lifestyles. I hope you are enjoying the segment that we are having on nuts. We have LaToya Drake from Barron County, and my name is Tracy Cowles from Butler County, and we are the Family Consumer Sciences Agents with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. We have lots of information that we can offer you, but this particular segment, we're going to talk about the health benefit of nuts. And LaToya has us lots of good information about storage and serving size and the benefits of the nuts.
Yeah, because nuts are really great for our overall nutrition. We need a variety of foods in our life to make sure that we're getting all the nutrients that we need. And you know that some people say there's a single great nut. There's no perfect nut. All nuts provide something different nutrient-wise for us. And you can have peanuts, pecans, almonds, whatever kind of nuts. Just incorporate a variety of them into your diet, because they say folks who eat more nuts will, let me get the fact just right for you, because it was really fascinating. It was a Harvard professor, and he said that people who ate nuts every day live longer and healthier lives than people who don't eat nuts.
Wow, that's information that we all can use. And there's
really
lots
powerful.
There's lots of ways that we can incorporate nuts in our diet.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the last segment too.
Oh, okay.
So
I can't blow it now.
Yeah, don't blow it now, Tracy. Because in 2010, do you know what? 3.97 pounds of nuts were consumed per person per day.
Was that nuts in general, or
actually that's for the whole year? 3.97 pounds a person per year in 2010. Because that would be a lot of nuts in a day. That would be way too many nuts to eat every day. Almonds are the most consumed nut in the United States.
Over peanuts?
Mm-hmm. Peanuts are one of the great snack foods, and we use a lot of peanut butter, but actual nuts are almonds.
Oh, wow.
And however, peanut is the most popular snack. And we've talked about how it's not actually a nut, it's a legume.
That does bring up another topic. It is totally different. Regular nuts are on trees. That's why they call them tree nuts. And peanuts are actually grown in the ground, and that's why they are a legume.
Nuts are nutrient-dense foods and are one of the natural plant foods that are richest in those fats. And they're good fats.
Yes, that's the one thing that we have. We have good fats, and then we have the bad fats. And we need to make sure that we are watching what we eat and that we incorporate the good fat in our diet.
And peanuts have the monounsaturated fat, which is the good fat, which is not the trans fat or the saturated fat that is solid at room temperature. Peanuts and other nuts have that good fat that's going to help lower our bad cholesterol. And let's see here. Although nuts are high in calories, there are several studies that demonstrate that the beneficial health effects associated with the consumption of nuts reduce the risk of heart disease.
Well, speaking of all the health benefits that we have, so how many can I eat? Can I just grab a handful and that be what I need, or do I need a specific serving size?
You do need a specific serving size. The serving size of nuts is about an ounce. And we've got pretty close to serving sizes here because I didn't fill up these 2 cups all the way. And this is definite serving size in our little demonstration food. But let me give you some specifics. For example, almonds. Almonds, you can have 20 to 23 whole almonds in a serving size.
Oh, wow. That's quite a few when you think about it.
Quite a few almonds. I really especially love and have some in my bag now, the sriracha.
Are they hot?
They're not too spicy. They have a really good flavor.
I can't do hot.
You can't do hot. You might think they're hot. My husband likes them, and he thinks they're hot. But I don't think they're that hot. But almonds, you can have 20 to 23 whole ones.
Wow.
Hazelnuts, you can have up to 21 nuts.
Now, I like hazelnuts. A lot of people don't like hazelnuts. Yes, and
they're
I like...
They're kind of hard.
They are hard, but I really like the flavor, and so that's another way that I can get some hazelnut flavors in my coffee creamer, and it's probably not even got the nut in it.
It probably doesn't. Or those hazelnut like chocolates.
Oh, yeah.
And the hazelnut chocolate spread.
Yes.
But that's not nutrient dense as 21 nuts.
Okay. So I'll have to change that then.
Pecans, you can have about 19 halves.
Now, pecans are some very rich food items, and we use those in a lot of different ways. But a lot of times I don't find myself snacking on pecans due to the fact that they are expensive, and I want to save those for my cooking.
I like them to flavor like the flavored pecans to munch on, a few of them.
You can usually get those at festivals and things of that nature. People will have the flavored pecans. What about, are there seeds that are good for us that would fit in this health benefit?
There are seeds, and we consider seeds similar to nuts because they, have the outside covering. And for example, sunflower seeds, an ounce of those is a serving.
Okay.
Sesame seeds, a tablespoon of those is a serving. And pumpkin seeds, an ounce of those is a serving. So that's about half of this 2-ounce cup. Flax seeds, a tablespoon.
And a lot of people use flaxseed in the morning with their oatmeal or their cereal for the fiber that it gives. And one of the things that they could do when they have a pumpkin and they're carving it, they could take the seeds and use that as a family activity and roast the pumpkin seeds and have that. Yeah,
because more exposure that children get and we get ourselves to food, the more likely we're going to eat them. It takes 15 to 20 exposures to a food item for a child to actually like it, Tracy. So just that whole act of carving a pumpkin, getting the seeds out, that's an exposure and a good exposure to a food that they're more likely going to eat. With nuts, too, pine nuts, you can have 167 kernels in a serving, but they're little bitty.
They are little bitty. Now, we've talked about some of the health benefits. What about how do we select a nut? Is there anything that we look at for in particular when we select nuts or we have storage?
And we're going to get into that in segment 3.
Oh, here I go again.
You keep on trying to move on, and we didn't even talk about how many Brazil nuts you can have. Those large Brazil nuts. Do you eat those very often?
I do like them.
Do you like them?
When I buy mixed nuts, that's one of them I pick out.
And you eat that first? You can have 6 to 7 of those.
No, that's not very many.
It's not very many because they're so large. Have you ever ate those on a salad? I've never had a Brazil nut on a salad.
No.
It's large.
I put almonds and pecans on my salad.
That's a big, you'll break a tooth. Cashews, we were talking about how fat-filled those were. You can only have 16 of those.
That's not very many. I think I'll go with something that I can have more of.
Yes. And then macadamia nuts, those are really rich too, 10 to 12 nuts.
I can eat a cookie with 10 of them.
You could. I could eat a cookie with 12 or 15. I really like macadamia nuts and their texture with cookies. With the selection, you should definitely choose nuts that aren't rancid.
Okay.
And we'll get to how we store them in the next, but let's talk about selecting them. It's probably best to buy what you're going to eat and not buy big things.
Okay.
I like the little snack packs that you can get because you know they're going to be fresh and not rancid.
Do nuts give us any heart health?
They do, definitely. Folks, there's some research that relates to eating nuts that our LDL will be reduced.
Oh,
and that is going to help our overall heart health and our cholesterol.
So nuts actually are very beneficial when we come to our health that we, a lot of us right now are on that health kick. We've had all of our holidays, we gained an extra pound or two, or we went to the doctor and we found out that we have heart issues and we need to work on that. So we could incorporate some nuts to help take care of that. You said that nuts have lots of benefits for us, and we know that there are publications at the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. So if you are interested in getting some information on nuts, the Health Benefit of Nuts publication can be picked up at your local Cooperative Extension Service.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, pet them, care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can bring them with you wherever you go. You can jump, yell, hide and go seek, play dress up, or not. Go for a walk, or not. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that. But you can adopt one. 'Cause we're
welcome back to Family Lifestyles. Tracy Thornton here with LaToya Drake, and we are talking about some nuts, and we are talking about selection and storage. Now, if we show a product on TV today, we do not promote products as a employee of the University of Kentucky. We are just showing you what maybe we had at home or what was accessible to us. So by no means are we trying to promote a brand, and I just want to make sure that everyone understands that.
Also use what's accessible to you, because in many of the counties that we serve, we don't have a big box store.
That's correct.
We have smaller markets. But you can make this, you can use what you have and make it similarly, and it will be just as good and just as nutrient dense.
Yes. So what are we going to start with?
We're talking about the storage of these nuts too, and nuts can go rancid really quickly.
Oh yeah, have you ever tasted one?
Yeah, on accident from my cabinet myself. 'Cause especially if they're out of the shell, and if you should store nuts, whole nuts, in the shell in a cool, dry place for 6 months.
Oh.
And in the shell, they'll last indefinitely in the freezer.
Oh,
I didn't know
wow.
that until doing some
Research.
extension research. We have a variety of pubs, like you've been saying, and they offer so much information that I learn something new every day. Shell nuts in the refrigerator will last up to a month, Tracy.
Okay.
And in the freezer, they'll last about 6 months when they're shelled.
Okay.
You definitely want to use freezer-safe bags and materials and wrap them and overwrap them to make sure they're going to last for the
and that they don't get freezer burnt.
They don't, yes.
You need to make sure you remove all the air and there's no moisture in the nut.
Yeah. Nuts should always be stored in tightly covered containers. Okay. And I need to do better at storing my nuts.
Now, they also have some canning jars now that are freezer safe. Mm-hmm. So if you have the opportunity or you have a freezer where you could put freezer safe jars in.
That's a great idea.
You could use that jar instead of the plastic bag, and then you could stack it and it would be easier to be accessible.
Some of these type containers too are freezer safe and will shut pretty airtightly.
Yeah. You need to make sure, though, that it says freezer safe before you use it, because if it doesn't, if it's glass, it can explode.
Yes, it can, and then you'll have a whole nother set of problems. Nuts are a great way to incorporate good fats and protein into your diet. And we've got a recipe here we're going to make with some, it's just a yogurt bowl. Yogurt is, and I could have stood to do this where I can sit because I think you guys can see. We've got some yogurt from the big box store. It's a great flavor. I'm excited to try.
Is it regular yogurt or is it?
This is Greek yogurt.
Greek yogurt. So it's supposedly better for us.
I mean, eat what you're going to eat what's cheap for you. Eat what you can afford.
Okay.
Get regular yogurt if you're going to do that
so
too.
I get to make one too. That looks really, really good. And it looks like it's got a flavor of honey in it.
It does have a honey flavor. I'm excited to try this one. Since it's National Peanut Month, all of March, we want to focus on peanuts and peanut butter. So I've got about a spoonful of peanut butter that I'm going to add to my chocolatey peanut butter yogurt parfait.
Oh, that does sound really, really good. I like peanut butter with maple syrup, and I can eat it with a spoon, and I know that's probably not really good for me, but I did it as a child, and sometimes old habits are hard to break.
It sounds all right. You could add some yogurt to that and make it a parfait and add some good stuff to it.
I could add some granola.
Add some granola, and we've got some granola here, great segue, that has some nuts in it. I think it has peanuts, cashews, it looks like, pecans. I'm going to add a bit of this to my parfait.
Oh, yes.
I definitely want to add some honey roasted peanuts because it's National Peanut Month. And that's what this is all about. We also have some chocolate chips and, spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down is what.
Oh. Well, we can have it in moderation. That is one of the keys to eating things that are not very nutritious. We can have things in moderation, and that makes sure that we have what we need.
And we should always be thinking about adding more fruits and vegetables to our diet because half of our plates in every meal should be fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
And the American Heart Association says we should get up to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables, or 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, which is about 4.5 cups. So a great way to do that is to add that to your parfait. So we've got some fresh strawberries here.
Oh, wow.
And that looks really pretty. I'll try that out in a bit. There are lots of nutty ways to liven up your diet with nut nutrition. You can sprinkle nuts over your yogurt, as we did, or your cereal for breakfast. You can add nuts to soft cheeses to make a tasty spread for crackers or bread. You can mix nuts in popcorn and make a nice trail mix. You can also garnish a bowl of soup with some
pine nuts,
with some nuts, or some chopped up any kind of nuts. Put it on your soup to give it some texture and flavor, right?
What about the almond butter that they have that you can find in stores? Say I was allergic to peanut butter, but I can have tree nuts. Yeah. Then almond butter may be a way for me to get that protein and to still have that peanut butter texture or taste.
And sunflower oil.
Sunflower butter. Now, I really like sunflower butter.
I like almond butter. I like cashew butter a lot.
Yes. So you can actually substitute those nuts for the peanut butter if you cannot have peanut butter. Now, at what age could I give my, say, child peanut butter?
If I remember correctly, isn't it 2?
It's right around 2 years old. Just because you don't want, it's too small, they might choke on it.
And that texture is a lot.
You know, a lot of kids don't like texture, and the texture of a peanut is pretty grainy at first, and then peanut butter is real thick and sticks. So you need to be careful if you have young children around that you do not have the nuts where they can easily access them due to the fact that it could be a choking hazard.
You can also, Tracy, garnish, we talked about that one, add slices or chopped nuts to any salad. And we mentioned that too. I love to do that. That's one of my favorite ways to eat nuts and incorporate them is on my salad.
And you know, it's getting ready to have fresh lettuce and fresh greens out of the garden. Farmers markets are in the process of getting ready to be geared up, and most communities have a farmers market so that you can go and purchase fresh produce, which is one way that you can make sure that you have nutrient dense food in your diet. And then you also know where your food comes from. That's one of the things that we have problems with right now, that kids have no idea where our food comes from. And so we could use our farmer's market to have the greens, and then we could get strawberries there. We could go home and have the almonds, and we have a wonderful salad.
You can also use nuts chopped up and crushed up as part of seasoning on a crusted chicken, poultry, or fish before baking it.
A pecan-crusted fish or pecan-crusted chicken would be really, really good.
There are so many ways to use nuts or nut butters. You can make a basic peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or peanut butter and or nut butter and jelly sandwich. And you can add roasted nuts to roasted vegetables. Just lots of ways to use nuts.
Well, thank you, LaToya, for being with us. You are watching Family Lifestyles, part of the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And thank you, and have a good day.